Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I've decided to be really courteous, and I've decided to share my personal statement with you. What you need to remember when you're doing your personal statement is that plagiarism and copyright, okay, is not accepted. Do not steal my personal statement. Get inspiration from it. Take a couple of sentences, change them up, make them relevant to what you do. I would always encourage anyone writing a personal statement to look at examples online, and those little really juicy and really impactful sentences that you like, take them, change them, make them your own, but do not steal and do not copy, okay? Because you will get flagged up, and you don't want to not get into university, or at least get an offer because you have plagiarized your personal statement, okay? So don't steal mine. Check out my website, ineffable.company.site, where I'm offering you A-level services such as your personal statement, mentorship. I'm offering CV services that could be for your part-time job, for a graduate role, and I'm also selling my A-level notes in English literature, economics, and history. I applied for history and economics, and I redrafted my personal statement so many times. I probably did it about 10 times. First I wrote it myself, then I was working at it with my form tutor, then I went to my history teacher because my degree I'm applying for, my personal statement, is specific to history and he has the expertise to help me. And then I went to my English teacher to help me with my spelling, punctuation and grammar, to ensure that my sentences are written correctly and all check out. And it's good to also get opinions from lots of different people so that overall you can make the best informed choice. Don't just stick to one, and don't just rely on one and trust one, okay? So I started it out, my introduction, as two sentences, two impactful sentences. And I said, to describe me as a pupil would be a happy one, comma, fortunate enough to always have had a cornucopia of history teachers overflowing my education with knowledge. Oh, that's a beautiful simile right there, okay? If you've ever seen a cornucopia, I think they're like those seashells that you find in the beach. So just imagine collecting water in it and it flowing through. Do you know what I mean? Or is a cornucopia a basket that has like fruits in it? I don't know. But either way, I'm saying that I'm being picked up, and I'm doing this in a very literary and very beautiful way. And I encourage you guys to do that. There are so many analogies you could use. It could be a clock ticking. It could be the grass growing. It could be flowers booming from the soil. I don't know. Be creative and be inventive and draw them in. Are you drawn in? Because I was drawn in already from that one sentence. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I love rereading the things that I write because I feel like I'm very talented with it. But you guys let me know if you think that that was a good personal statement or not. And if you have any other questions, or you might want to help me help you, then definitely comment down below. But also remember that I am selling tuition to you guys where I will mentor you. So check out my website as well in case that's something you're interested in, more of a one-to-one experience. Invest now or pay for your mistakes later. History underpins every aspect of society for me. Only by understanding our past can we assess our present and direct our future. I've been particularly interested in the rise of Hitler, which was very controversial, and I was thinking it was controversial, but at the same time, it's what all of the universities, it's what is taught in all schools within the British education system. And it's okay to talk about something controversial, but be sure to be, I'm scared. So I'm gonna move on, but I'm going to basically say, I'm gonna reiterate that I did get accepted by all my universities, and it's okay to talk about something controversial. Just make sure you talk about it in a sensitive way. Swiftly moving on, I'm fascinated by the way history is constantly being reinterpreted. Dr. John Van White's 2015 TED Talk stressed the importance of evaluating a range of sources and its provenance to me. Now that's another good tip. Have a look at some TED Talks about the subject you're interested in. So being interested in history doesn't just mean, for example, you're gonna write history TED Talk. You might be writing Native American TED Talk, or the Da Vinci Code. I don't know, just something that's a part of history or something related, where you need to listen carefully and pick out the really good and important information from it. So Martin Behaim Ephradaphel bracket 1942. And remember, if you're going to mention somebody, you're not going to know how to university style reference at this point, but for the purpose of plagiarism and also to show that you are aware of referencing, you just haven't honed the skill yet because you haven't had that experience, make sure you are quoting in dates, in brackets, where you've gotten the information from. Da Vinci notes, proves the taught myth of Columbus as the first to endorse the world to be round to old contemporaries. History is sometimes rewritten or modified. The great discovery by Columbus equally resulted in indigenous displacement. Now, I'm just showing where I'm coming at. The way how I've approached modern history has been completely from an ethnic minority, an anti-imperialist, an anti-orientalist, right? A pro-black perspective. So I'm not here to listen to the lies that are being taught. I'm here to receive the information, do my research and see, is it tea or are they lying? This is how you approach topics of race or topics of controversy without being offensive to the institution of university, right? You're not talking to your friends, you're talking to academics, okay? And you're talking to an institution. Historical denialism can also be ascribed to the history of discrimination, of which is more publicized in America than it is the UK. You can talk about all that you want to talk about, just talk about it in the most appropriate way. In the UK, heroic leader Churchill is open to criticism based on his views on Kenya, Indians, and even Welsh miners. So here, my history teacher was really helping me address the controversial things I wanted to do, but do it in a really, really nice way. So in doing this, I'm not only talking about Kenya as a country or India as a ethnicity, I'm also talking about Wales, which is also part of the UK. So I'm showing that there's even internal disputes, and this is not a race thing, it's not an ethnicity thing, it's a history and a difference, a perceived difference thing. Perhaps the erasure of parts of the British Empire, like his eugenics support, from the curriculum is questionable. And like I said, I had spoken about Hitler previously, but I feel like, not that I'm being balanced, but I am being balanced in talking about Churchill, in showing that there are two sets of people that have done approaching it, just being thought-provoking. I'm basically saying, I know a few things, I don't know it all. Take me in your university and educate me and teach me, because at the age of 17 when I was writing this, I didn't know, but I had an interest. It is a choice, and one made for true historians to explore further. My awareness of Black history became more fun when I hosted a radio segment for Black History Month, and that's where I'm getting in my tiny achievement that is history related and also gets in my extracurricular, and just shows that I have a bit of a life outside of academics, even though I don't necessarily at the time. So I've done my history paragraph, and because I applied for 4 history degrees and 1 history and economics degree. So before the fact that I applied for a history and an economics degree, I now need to deal with the economic side, because you only write one personal statement that will be seen by everybody, every uni, every degree. So you have to make it well-rounded and encompassing and not exclusive. Economics complements history as a subject because both encourage assimilation of thought and reasoning. I like that economics origins date back to ancient Egypt, showing the long-term importance of the subject and ancient civilization as a prototype for Adam Smith's formal founding of the social science. So again, I'm challenging these ideas, these very Eurocentric ideas, and I'm showing that a lot of the things that have come out has actually been predated, and it goes back to Africa, the motherland. So you can really see there that even though I'm now moved on to economics, I'm still speaking about history. I'm intertwining it. That's how smooth you need to intertwine your subjects that you're talking about. In ancient Egypt, Scales were used to measure the currency of grain as a medium of exchange. Aristotle's vilification of monetary exchange as immoral, but praising coinage as holding all goods together, promoting economic growth, is contrasting. So again, I'm showing them that I'm interested in, number one, debunking what the media is telling us, getting to the facts, and looking at the contradictions, right? Why are we placing more importance on one thing than placing it on the other? And there are paradoxes within. In my own studies, I enjoy other trade-offs between economic growth and the notions of social justice. Wow, what a really, really cunning and smart way to, again, link in the buzzwords of economics like a trade-off. But now I'm showing social justice from an historical perspective, right? But also a humanitarian perspective now. So I'm showing them that I'm a human being with an opinion and I care about the world and what's going on. This has been made clear by learning about Pitt's financial reforms, Peel's free trade, and the migration of Southern Black people to the North, or how the 1932 Great Depression disproportionately affected African Americans. So now everything I've said there, I'm actually talking about what I've learned in my A-levels as part of my curriculum. I listened to evaluations of conflict of thought and theory at the Economic Society. English has shown me the importance of language and how history works in the imagination. This reaffirms literature for me as an allegorical extension of the past. The power history can exert in the imagination is evident in Percy Shelley's poem Ozymandias, which I think we learned Ozymandias at GCSE. That's what I'm trying to tell you, especially watch my GCSE poetry videos if you have not. Everything you're doing then can so easily relate to now. Make sure when you're learning, you're going deep and you're standing on business. His poem was inspired by younger Memnon's colossal head, or rather ruins, which is now I'm engaging with the fact that the literature in English is dealing, am I a genius? Sorry, I don't mean to talk my own horn, but this is making me really excited, especially when I'm debunking it for you guys, to show you guys how to make this really related. But I'm now talking about the English literature of Ozymandias having a colossal head, which is what Percy Shelley is talking about. But I've so cunningly and smoothly spoken about the ruins, which actually is based on a real figure and a real statue. And if you go to the British Museum, you can actually see his ruins. Like, it's not a perfectly statue, if you know what I mean. So I'm showing that I can already pick out the history within the English literature. Genius. Influenced by Ramesses II, of which I visited at the British Museum. In Orwell's, and oh my gosh, I love going to museums, and I really recommend you guys to do it, because the gems that you can get just through walking through the museum and looking at different artifacts is next to none. So if you're interested in doing a history degree or anything really, because museums relate to every type of discipline, go there and draw inspiration. Go to the museum and draw inspiration, and watch a TED talk and draw inspiration. In Orwell's 1984, which is a book I studied during A-level English literature, we see the oppression of totalitarianism today in the mass surveillance of our societies, in the influx of web cookies. Do I care about web cookies? No, but web cookies fit and it makes sense. They're watching us, okay? The historical notes, the bit people skip the most at the end of The Handmaid's Tale, is of interest to me as it satires the past. Look at how I'm so beautifully transitioning from the English literature subject to explain why I've taken English literature during A-levels back into history and economics, which is my interest. Then I've just ended it by talking about the UCL Horizons, where I learned study skills. I spoke about balancing my studies and my free time. I spoke about critical thinking strategies. I spoke about being a form prefect. I spoke about volunteering that I've done at the past as part of my Duke of Edinburgh Award, which I never completed. And I've spoken about, anyway, my final sentence as well. I hope to contribute to university by pushing myself with sport and involving myself with the media outlet. For me, history is important because it helps us understand our place in the present as much as our past. To study history would be to cultivate my research, perspective, and excellence. Remember the power of the rule of three when you're writing in English. Research, comma, perspective, comma, and excellence. It's an easy way for people to remember everything you've spoken about. So if you enjoyed that, please give this a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time for our next Uni Unveiled series. So if you liked what you watched today and you want to see some of my other videos from my mini series, just remember that on Mondays we have the hot topics of the week, where we do a little debate and discussion about everything relevant, current and trending. On Wednesdays we do Uni Unveiled, where we discuss and debunk everything about university and all of the myths that come with it, making higher education more accessible to you, especially those who do not have parents that have gone to university and been educated. On Fridays, we discuss our Teen Life series, where we focus on your personal development as adolescents and young people, navigating your friendship, work life, corporate, retail, first jobs, relationships, all of that jazz, to provide you with the skills and the motivation that you need to possess introspection and self-appreciation and high self-esteem. And finally, on Sundays, we have our Diaspora Dialogues, where we discuss and celebrate the richness of the Black culture, the Black diaspora across the globe, UK life, UK culture, and some of the tribulations that come with it. So if you're interested in all of that, you know what days to come back to this channel: on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if I said anything that was interesting to you, please leave a comment below. I always reply, and you'll find that a lot of people also will start replying to you, and you will get the debates going, okay? Be a shepherd, not a sheep.